Eurozone debt crisis, US economy slowing down. The world's financial outlook doesn't look too great these days. And to find out how all this is affecting Asian economies, here's Ron Madison to tell us more.
Yeah, we're seeing some concerns growing now about emerging Asian economies, Yuko. In fact, the Asian Development Bank has downgraded its growth outlook in the developing economies of Asia. The bank lowered China's growth forecast for one this year to 8.2%. That's down from 8.5% that it gave back in April. It's also lowered India's growth to 6.5%, and that's down from the original estimate of 7%. Now, a reporter in Singapore, Yuko Funazaki, spoke with Iwan Azis. He's head of Asian Development Bank's Office of Regional Economic Integration. She talked about what's behind the revisions and the trends ahead for Asian economies.
Thank you very much. It's great here. Asian economy in general are open economy, and their interaction with the rest of the world quite high. So naturally, when those G2 countries, i.e. Europe and US, experiencing a slowing down of their economy, that affects the Asian economy, in particular in China and India.
China's growth in total trade for the first half of this year stood at 8% compared to a year ago. That's under the government's annual goal of 10%.
In that scheme of production network, China is right in the center of that scheme, because classical story is that ASEAN countries, but not only ASEAN, even Japan and Korea are also doing similar thing, exporting intermediate goods to China, and then they process those intermediate goods in China to become final goods, consumer goods, and China exports them to Europe, to the US. So you can imagine, if China is in trouble, you can imagine the ripple effect on the rest of Asia.
India's economy is also losing momentum. The country's GDP growth was 5.3% in the fourth quarter from January through March. As it says, that Indian policymakers should improve the business environment to stimulate its economy.
I'm sure they have hundreds of regulatory policies that can be reformed, that can be made more relaxed, giving more room and more incentive for agents. When I said agent, I'm talking about the private investors in this case, to get interested, to invest, to do business and so forth. So I think that is the direction that India should take, given the slowing down of the economy now.
What do you think are the greatest challenges for developing Asia for this year and the next?
2013 is expected to be better than 2012. So in other words, next year is expected to be better. That doesn't mean that, the external condition will be solved. The problem in Euro will be solved. The problem in the US will be solved. No, not at all. But again, as I indicated earlier, Asian countries are also undergoing structural change in terms of trade pattern. They are now trading more among themselves, as well as trading more with other emerging markets. And this applies also to the financial sector. So all these things is happening now, and we believe that it will continue to happen even more stronger in the coming years.
All right, that was Iwan Azis, the head of the Asian Development Bank's Office of Regional Economic Integration.